Good morning to you, Mr. Naruhodo. I come to realize I have to check something. I'm sorry, let me check very quickly. There I am. Good morning, Professor. Ready for today's proceedings? I guess no. Hope so. I should be even I with nothing left to. Good morning, my dear fellow. Shells? What's up? Mr. Sholmes, you are here. Why, naturally, a true gentleman stands shoulder to shoulder with his friend in battle at all times. Thank you, I really appreciate that. Now, Professor, you really need to remain calm in the courtroom today. Yes, do try your hardest not to enter the witness stand. I'm invited, again. Yes, I will. I realize it was a mistake, but my dear fellow, I must interject. You're still here, Mr. Shaw. What's the matter? Surely overlooked some praise, have you not? To be cast in my direction, sorry, I don't follow. Must I spell it out? I, the great Sherlock Holmes, the greatest detective of the worldwide acclamation. I rose at some ungodly hour to be here now, first thing in the morning. A miracle, you must agree. Well, if I must agree, then. As you know, my sleep is quite impregnable. Iris had to employ her full gamut of tactics. She pulled the covers off, shook me, pulled both cheeks, punched me, and kicked me from the bed. Then she poured a boiling cup of her latest experiment blend on my face, and at last I was beside. Boiling water, okay. Oh my Iris has been busy. Iris doesn't have it in her to go that far, she's too nice. I sense the spirit of the fellow scientist. One religious, definite possibilities of planetity. I'm the one worthy of praise here, no Iris. This is my victory. Sorry to cut in. Iris? Oh no, Gregson. Iris? Oh, Inspector Gregson, good morning. Gregson, my dear fellow, why the grim expression at this delightful early hour? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I've been confronted with a grimmer expression. Grimmer expression? Yeah, me, are you going to take that insult lying down, Professor? What? 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 I don't know! Wait. Professor? Oh, Professor. What? Anyway, here's the paperwork you asked for. Okay, thank you. Did I ask for some paperwork? What paperwork? Yeah. What paperwork? I took the liberty of requesting it yesterday. Okay. I have a feeling it may prove useful. Okie dokie. And we will lead the hoops I have to jump through to get this brought out of the archives. It's the Professor autopsy report. Really? That must murders? Who killed 5 members of the aristocracy? He was found guilty in a closed trial 10 years ago. Now it was all done under ropes. It was quickly executed soon after the trial resulting here. I hope they're not... Nah, do you think so? Like the Robbie Downey Jr. movie, Sherlock Holmes, the first one. I don't know what to say, thank you, Spectre. You're gonna do that? Maybe, I don't know. It was an impossibility. Yes, much obliged, Gregson. It was a good movie. Discombobulated. Slowly lot at the yard, just doing what we can in the shadow of the great detectives, Jones, of course. Well done, Professor Hairprint, is it? Today we are going to lay all these to rest at last. I wish you the best of luck, Professor. I suppose he'll be here today, will he? Driver. Yes, we expect the prosecution to summon him as a witness. Well, even if he was innocent, just gonna be say, he tried to blow up everyone else. I'm still amazed that you managed to find him in just one day. Ah, really, you both, so much. I was all got the defender tried to resume the better way to go to outwards. Yeah, we got it. I'm just gonna move the grid. This is it then, the final chapter. Finding my heart is rising a little. And I felt this before actually. It's strange, foreboding, or foreshadowing. So many information, as if something going to happen this round. I'm not ready for it. Nobody will be, but I can't tell that. Distract me from the only thing that really matters. Finding the truth. Let me guess. Let me guess, the engineer here, Asman, we later realized that Asman was the actual professor. What the fuck? There's so many things in my mind. There's too many things in my mind. Could be anything. Oh, let's see, we'll see. Let's hope I guess surprised. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare it is called to be in session again. Resume the public hearing while the harboring. He presented the stands accused of murder. Now the counsel of the prosecution of the defense ready to proceed. Katsuma is ready, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. As I promised, Lord Van Zisk as his apprentice with him. His apprentice with memory loss. Wow, that's comforting. His apprentice with memory loss. If I may, Lord Van Zisks. Yeah, my lord. There appears to be someone standing at your side. Ah, yes. Apprentice and assistant. The prosecution believes today's proceedings will see complexity of this case rise considerably, and I agree with that statement. Wow. They even did the animation. They have instructed my assistant to attend to ensure the smooth running of the trial. Come on, even that movement. That was such a Kazuma movement. And the smooth running of liquid refreshment by the look of it. The way he holds himself, the way he moves. Can't be only anyone else. He's still suffering from amnesia, so there's really nothing we can do at the moment. I know, but he's so very hard. The movement! Well, up here, the prosecution has done a fine job responding to the demands of the calls made yesterday. I understand you have successfully secured the engineer will disappear from the scene of the day in the question. Yes, my lord. I intend to call him as a witness shortly. Wow. Very good, very good. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people of this courtroom today. Are you ready and willing to proceed? Of course, my lad, I'm sure. We understand the importance of doing our civic duty. I do so despise deception, deceit, the values of any man. To take a man's life with conjuring trick is against the magician code, not to mention the law. Any fake sentence shall fall out the wrath of God, if you ask me. You understand what I said, but it's nice, fence. I'm then settled, man. Oh man, that's it, isn't it? It wasn't like this in my day. It wasn't like this at all. I'm quite confident the last guy will be a key witness jurors of the professor case that is going to be resuscitated in this courtroom. If all parties are ready to proceed, you may begin, Lord Van Zisk. Before I do, my lord, there is what? Before I do, my lord, there is a report I must read. Okay. Yesterday, a great exhibition ground evidence prior importance in the case was blowing up. The super high voltage instantaneous machine, which was installed on the experiment stage, was very destroyed in an explosion affected by an unknown person or persons. Was what? Blown up, an explosion. It's an outrage. Makes sense. Yes, I heard this grave news yesterday. Scotland Yard submitted a report to my office in Devon. I read that the machine was blasted to smithereens and the wreckage reduced to ashes into flames. I have here the photographic print of the scene, taken in the wake of the explosion. Huh. I don't know if it's worse or better the fact that you blew it up, because now you can see there's a contraption in here. Show what little remains of the machine. Yes, a terrible business, whatever. He did to destroy the evidence, did he? Yeah. Then I don't know. The court will take this print as evidence, counsel. Late yesterday afternoon, the protection afforded to the machine by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Art was revoked, which of course I'm gonna make it shorter by calling it simply Act. However, before the real investigation could begin, the invention was obliterated from existence. As such, this will become a very different trial. As it stands now, we now have evidence of which to draw a meaningful conclusion. The authenticity of the Kinesis machine will remain forever in obscurity. Indeed. A most unfortunate state of affairs. However, one thing remains clear. The victim's death was the result of the action of the accused. Of that, there can be certain. For it was the accused himself who was operating the machine and who ultimately causes its loss of
Objection!
As Ryunosuke rightly said, it is a different trial right now. The accused accepted responsibility for his part in events that transpired. We acknowledge that Mr. Husband died as a result of the accident caused by his machine malfunction. However, unbeknownst to the professor, he was being deliberately deceived by a pair of very clever fraudsters. Names, counsel? Names, if you please. The engineer, Mr. Enoch Draper, and the victim himself, Mr. O.D. Husband. So what exactly were those two men up behind the defendant's back? The defense intends to expose that information, thus establishing the unequivocal innocence of the defendant. Thank you, counsel. The position of the prosecution and the defense have been clearly stated. Ryunosuke, summon your first witness, please. At once, my lord. At once. The prosecution called the engineer, Mr. Enoch Draper, to the stand. State your name and occupation to the court. Name Enoch Draper, occupation. To pin down, I will say. I'm not gonna say that. See that black medical? Yes, why do I feel that story seen somebody before? Oh, you too? I was actually the same feeling myself. He was the guy that sorted that price. Your field indicates that you are currently being investigated in connection with another case, the theft of the Waxwork model. Is it a more extraordinary sounding business? But that has no bearing on this trial, I assure you. Leave it from your mind. You're familiar with the public experiment carried out at the Great Exhibition some days ago. The accused super high voltage heterogeneity demonstration. Yes, you could say that I am aware of it. There was a terrible accident, wasn't there? It was you, Mr. Draper, who constructed the vast machine used in the experiment. Or so our investigation indicates. Can you confirm your involvement? Yes, I constructed it. In precise accordance with the blueprints, but that's all. And the court will be very interested to hear your thoughts about the machine, I'm sure. Why I feel like that was something that from Black Eyed Peas, I don't know. An amazing device, you ask me? The pinnacle of modern science. Make instantaneous kinesis a reality at all. At last, at all. What? Good gracious, do you mean to say that the experiment was bona fide? Is that your belief, sir? Yes, that is very much my belief. Such a waste that I blew it.
Objection!
That I blew it out! Well, we already established the machine was nothing more than a prop of our elaborate country trick.
Objection!
Why am I so obsessed with it? Established nothing of the sort. Yeah, that's true. All that was shown during yesterday proceedings is that the same outcome could have been produced by the means of stage trickery. The defense merely proposed a method and demonstrated its feasibility, nothing more. But... we procrastinated long enough, I feel. Witness, you will now give your formal testimony. About the machine that you constructed for the purpose of the demonstration at the Great Exhibition. Understood. I met a young professor approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Asman's introduction. He provided me with a blueprint and I constructed the machine at his precise specification. It was no trick. If the whole show was a fraud, I would have required a body double. Tell me, did the victim have a twin? All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and then crash headfirst into the crystal tower. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow. Somehow? Body double? That goes without saying, surely. To give the impression that something was moved when in reality it hasn't. It's a basic conjuring principle. The deception cannot be achieved without substituting the original with a fake at some point in the performance. Will I be right in saying you haven't managed to establish anything along those lines? Oof. Incidentally, the prosecution has already confirmed that Mr. Asman has no twin siblings. Shame. It's my understanding that this witness is well versed in conjuring artfulness, but such talents do not indicate that he was actually able to accomplish what he claims, namely the construction of what by all accounts might have been an extremely complex scientific machine. Whatever do you mean? Yesterday proceedings brought the true nature of your past exploit to light, Mr. Draper. Indeed, my lord. As Winder, who preys on innocent scientists to elicit government grant money through conjuring know-how. Yeah, it's true that I possess considerable knowledge of stage magic. But crucially, my scientific knowledge more than matches of any academic in the field. Investigation of the witness workshop attests to that claim, my lord. As evidence, the police found his Royal Society trophy for young talent in science hid there. Yes, that's true. We spotted it there ourselves. His hypothesis is sound, can always be forged into a physical manifestation with sufficient skill. But I may have solved the secrets of some deceptive wiles to sniveling talentless scientists in the past. What? Would you therefore assert that the explosion of the machine was an unfortunate accident, or of course, a deliberate act of murder carried by the misuse of the science? So he must be the culprit, right? Counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, please. Yes, my lord. Yeah, it makes sense. We can see the motive. Although there's a lot of things missing. We'll figure out. Ah, look here, Mr. Sutter. Oh yes, the roots cracked and broke a little, I suppose, because it fell from such a height. Yeah, from the height at which the balloon was flying down the crystal tower below. All of about 30 feet, or 9 meters. Leaving the man inside tragically dead.
Objection!
We examined the bear cage that crashed in the crystal tower itself. As you can see, the cage, which is wooden construction, has sustained damage in one particular spot. Following the explosion, it fell some 30 feet into the glass of the crystal tower. That level of damage is to be expected, surely. I agree, to damage itself is entirely understandable. What doesn't make sense is the location of that damage. All the breakage in the hood are at the base of the birdcage, not at the top. What are you saying? That's the opposite of where they should be. That's right, my lord. The birdcage that was at the scene is damaged at its base. So we have a report of the birdcage falling headlong into the crystal tower, yet the damage is at the bottom. The only way to reconcile these two facts is to accept that there were two birdcages in play that day, which were at the same point switched during what wasn't a scientific experiment at all, but an elaborate piece of stage 3. Gah? I didn't even notice. Good gracious, explain yourself, witness. Well, if we examine the facts, there's only one logical conclusion we can draw. The damage of the base of the birdcage clearly indicates that it crashed tail first into the
Objection!
But multiple witnesses both claimed it fell head first. The birdcage materialized in the sky next to a balloon flying over the stage following a spontaneous explosion in an altitude of some 60 feet above ground level, which is approximately 18 meters. If the proceeding to fall some 30 feet from the crystal tower is an extreme deflagration. Witness report amid such chaos are notoriously unreliable.
Objection!
But the victim's neck was broken.
Objection!
He plummeted 30 feet inside a heavy wooden cage. Now where he fell, it will be unsurprising to find one or two of his vertebrae crushed. I really think scientific analysis of events from the prosecution there, though to be even more rigorous. You would have to say it was only one vertebra, actually. It wasn't quite He wasn't quiet for long. I find it hard to see what's motivating Love and Six. This wit is clearly as Windler. One would deceive a personal friend of his. If you are going to establish it is deception, do it right. Sorry. I feel like there's undertone here. Ah yes, and there's one more point. The defense appears to have forgotten. It's obviously it wasn't a trick, as a certain truth very plainly demonstrates. What? Seems to me the cross-examination had better continue until we resolve this matter. Mr. Draper, you will amend your testimony with details of this truth. Of course, we must treat the matter scientifically after all. I nearly had him there.
Objection!
This is a diagram of the experimentation stage at its surrounding. We know that somehow the burgage paint had been there before falling down the crystal tower. They fall about 30 feet on 9 meters. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you see there is one other possibility location from which the birdcage could have fallen. The same distance of 30 feet? No. The balloons or the other one? Well, it appears the defense has possibly... Go ahead, counsel. Which one? Yes, my lord. Which one? You will indicate the place in which you are referring to this same diagram. Okay, not the balloon.
Take that!
The place referring to is here. But that's the birdcage would have been beginning with. Which is exactly the point, my lord. Yes, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage, but what we must also consider is the height of the stage itself. Go on, counsel. It turns out the experimentation stage was built at a considerable height above ground. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you'll see it is about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. There. At the moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and if we assume there to be void underneath, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience will have fallen almost exactly the same distance. Once again, my lord, this all points to the fact that there was not one birdcage.
Objection!
My lord friend has no evidence that the stage had such a contrivance on its designs. Someone is responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself, it's true. However, the stage still stands. I take a moment to look at the photographic print of the scene about yesterday's explosion. Yeah. Good lord, don't tell Grail the form the floor of the machine is undone. To be honest, I presented this so much quicker, but I guess it's not enough. It most likely blown open by the force of the explosion to destroy the rest of the machine. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately. Mr. Draper? It was you who built the kinesis machine, which means that it was you who built the two birdcage were used to carry out this deception. Whether Professor Harbinger hypothesis is sound or not make no difference, because it is the construction of this machine that matters. Machine designed to take Mr. Osmond's life. And later blame firmly at the professor's door, something that could only have been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Draper. Kara? Kara! Uag. Uag.
Objection!
If my lord friend has reached the end of this wild assertion, what's the point of it? The prosecution will like to crush the defense argument slowly but surely. Your argument fails to hold water on 2 counts, and your callous fails to hold wine Your count. 2. Firstly, before and after the experiments, the witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every other member of staff from the exhibition has attested to that. And I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on the watch after every public experiment. In other words, Mr. Draper had no priority to switch the alleged pairs of Birkin.
Objection!
But I've already explained why he would have needed to. Then I'll say with the crossbow. That doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed in the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team report is unequivocal on that point. And the second flaw in your assertion is a distinct lack of motive. Why would this man have wanted to take the victim's life and no reason to do so? A motive? I have here the contract provided by the witness. What contract it is, Lord exists. The contract into which Mr. Draper entered with the victim, Mr. Husband, I reads. Mr. Draper is to receive 30% of all remuneration for government grants or other income. 30%? Certainly a very favorable contractual condition. But there was one very important provision bolted on that clause. What provision? Mr. Draper may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void. So you see, it had nothing to gain from Mr. Husband's death, the diametric opposite in fact. Need I say more? The witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime. In short, the possibility of Mr. Draper having done as you suggest is nil. Well, that's hard. That is quite a bomb. It seems the defense assertion was somehow wide of the mark. Lord Zisk, you will submit the contract as evidence, please. This is bad. This is very bad. It's true. There were no opportunities to switch the luggage under the stage with the one in the Crystal Tower. He could have done it. He couldn't have done it. In any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been. There is one aspect of your argument. It still holds true, however. There were 2 bird-cages. The prosecution is unable to deny that. So I'm sure you are on the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo. And I have no doubt that there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths, too. But it would seem that the defense has no rejoinder to offer. Well, I must say I'm a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine I built, and instead, my reputation is defiled. But the prosecution counter set the record straight, I think. It's impossible that I'm the culprit.
Objection!
What do we have? At the beginning of this trial, we believed that there was only 1 birdcage. Yet now we know there must have been 2. In other words, there was more to demonstration than we realized at first. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit. Get to the point. The stage demonstration, well constructed and set up, it is entirely by Mr. Draper. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. So if your circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself, he points out to the fact that someone else was involved. Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, my lord. Mr. Draper had an accomplice.
Objection!
That's hard to point. I don't know who, but an accomplice now? Well then, I presume you're prepared for what's to come. That you are accusing not only this witness, but someone else of the most serious of crime. If these accusations turn out to be false, then I'll make no mistake. The prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander. Well, counsel, do you intend to pursue this cause and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter? What do I do here? The moment is little more than a hunch of my part. I don't know for sure if Draper had an accomplice or even if he really is the culprit here. Why are you then saying it then? Just shooting the, empty. One way or another, though, I have to make my position clear as a lawyer. So what is my stance going to be? Did Draper have an accomplice or not? I wanna back down, to be honest. I actually... Let's name an accomplice. The defense is ready to name Mr. Draper accomplice. Mount to Birdcage must have been switched, everything points to that. And according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. But our inconsistency itself is a clue. Counsel? My lord. You have received the stark warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name. So, you answer, please. Who do you claim to have been Mr. Draper accomplice? I think it was him.
Take that!
Makes sense, right? The victim himself. Who is this person? Someone actively related to the crime, hello? Somehow you surely wouldn't say you don't know. Yes, thank you, I'm aware of it. No? The name of the person in question is... What's wrong, my Japanese friend? Surely fear doesn't buy your tongue now, it's a little late for that. Yeah, it's quite late. I don't know. I don't know why. Of course, I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me, which I think is going to happen. I'm sure you will be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Mr. Sato. Absolutely no idea why she's supposed to be an accomplice. To me always appears larger than life, but you all appear exactly the same to the enemy. Alright then, here it goes. You kept us waiting long enough. You answer, counsel, now. The person who colluded with Mr. Draper in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. County Sighty. What the blaze are you talking about, Dr. Sighty? The head of the forensic investigation team and the coroner who conducted the autopsy on the victim. We know there was 2 Birdcage, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of the huge crowd of spectators, and the area was immediately sealed off. Then everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way to the forensic investigation team. When else could the switch have occurred? It can only have been that team's presence. Makes sense. Because there was not really reason to move it back there, you know? The Birdcage, I mean. Essentially, the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. They should just leave it there. Just take the corpse, why do I have to take the whole Birdcage? Defense demands that Dr. Side be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify. Don't make a lot of sense. You got a nerve, lad. Standing up here and dragging the yard name through the mud. I didn't mean to. I know the woman very well. There is no better dead room worker than. How dare you call her a criminal? My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night. But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there is another grave problem with your argument. One which the prosecution demands you address at once. A great problem? Oh my word. Who do you claim acted as the victim doppelganger? What? Certainly, if the Birdcage contained the body of the victim was exchanged for another, a cage must also have contained a body. And yet, no missing person or accidental deaths of anyone even remotely resembling the victim has been reported. Which means there was no one, dead or alive, who have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Ansel. That's true, if my argument is there were 2 Birdcages, then there must also have been 1 person inside each. I don't know if we got an answer to these yet, have I? I can't reveal how a body double stand was achieved. Could be both, because it wouldn't be too hard. Like, it makes sense to present means to spells. Very well, defense voters, present your evidence through nature as my body double. Good gracious, evidence? I do hope this is a filibustering castle. The court is expecting a name. If you think you have relevant evidence presented now, the body double in the Birdcage hiding inside the balloon was floating above the stage, which means that any witness will only have seen them for 60 feet away. Who was it that appeared out of explosions some 18 meters above the spectators? Uh-huh. Bodied up inside the second luggage. Took your word.
Take that!
I hope it's this one. I really hope it's this one. We know that the victim salesman was in the luggage that was situated inside the kinesis machine stage, and therefore he couldn't have been inside the second luggage that contains something else. Yeah, we agree with we managed to solve this mystery. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the crystal tower. Yes, Council accorded you somehow elaborate a version of events. That body double inside the second luggage was in fact what? So right, Mr. Naruhodo, you are ready. Thank you, Susato. Good to know you are still here with us. Thank you, Mr. Sato, I needed that. You sure need a lot of things, Ryunosuke. As I was saying, the body double inside the second luggage was as ambivalent as it might seem. That thing there. How do you have it here?
Objection!
Open your eyes and look into my Japanese friend. Now tell me, what are you playing at? Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is time to show your Japanese spirit. At the core, we'll observe this waxwork model. Ah, that was weak. Model, in fact, of an infamous London murder from 10 years ago. The professor.
Objection!
You started by indicating the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime. And now you moved on indicating waxwork? Indicting. Yes. It's about the size of it. But why? And why this waxwork? It was nothing like the victim. Fairly could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? If you want to know why, ask Mr. Draper. What? Just days before Professor Harebrand performed his public demonstration, Mr. Draper abducted his mother from Madame Tussauds. Did you say abducted? And 2 days after the incident of the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. Then the timing. Is this true, Mr. Draper? At first I couldn't see why Mr. Draper would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again, but now the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second luggage as a body double for Miss Salzman.
Objection!
Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? For me, it makes sense that the witness fabricated his vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. That he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience. And that the fact that deception he used as a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe that far-fetched tale? What do you decide?
Objection!
Ah, that was weak. Wait. Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord. I need to speak, if you please. Okay. Shit. Go ahead, myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. We're gonna fudge him up. Very good in that case. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Guilty! 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 Guilty!
Guilty!
Kill me!
Wow! Oh, not surprised. Oh my god. Here we got again. So, as indicated by the thing, I knew it was going to happen. Everyone knew it was going to happen. We shall get through this, Mr. Naruhodo, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way, I'm quite sure. Yes, I agree. Going to have to be appealed to jurors as usual. And see if I can persuade them to change their minds. The defense will now embark on summation examination. He's not even going to ask us, like, just let's go for it. Right, my lord. Very well. In that case, I'll ask you now state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you has decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime of which he is charged. Jesus Christ, why are you at first? I know that one for years, you never been accomplished with anything. Is that nonsense to think those two will ever be conniving with one another? Conniving? Oh yeah, this is most troubling. But surely the waxwork demands stole is nothing to do with the coroner, is it? I had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much. Wait, what? I've seen no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside this burgage. It's conjecture. Accusing someone without great evidence. See, no proper job. Is he? I don't believe it. What? Believe it. I don't believe it. Wait a moment. Is that a kid? Somebody surprisingly. Why there's a kid among the jurors? Now that I think about it, is that an actual child? I hope not. Anyway, it seems the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceeding has a polarized opinion. Given its face obscure and its build is in no way resembles that of the victim. I can only applaud my learned friend's temerity as suggesting it as Mr. Husband's body double. Yeah, the applause is deafening, and yes, I know it seems extraordinary. But that's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue than anyone yet realizes. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? I can explain why at the moment. But I feel as though there is a specific reason why it was used. It had to be this model. Really? A reason why nothing else will do, you mean? Yes, I'm convinced. Something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim. Well, if that's the case, we must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs. Yes, I agree. I have to find a way out of this. Could it be that since nobody knew his face, it was easier to work on, so they picked that one? You're ready, counsel? You may proceed with the summation examination. But to keep the head, so there was a point to all this. How do tell? What sort of problems? Let us say we run into each other on numerous occasions while we've been performing on the street. Right, I see. Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audience, so we perform our great magic in parks, on street corners, and the like. But the police use any excuse to make us...
Not my day!
Well, it's difficult.
Excuse me!
With a gun like that next to a kid. Do you have something to say in response, Mr. Oddmelo? Why are you calling me? What calling a mass murder? Oh, sorry, my mistake. I got confused because I heard you look like... I don't look like anything like that, man. You wanna be locked up, Sonny? Thanks, Mr. Sholmes. Perhaps we could move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what jurors number 3 just said. And clearly you do. Back in my day, back in the good old days, it wasn't like this. What was it like, sir? We were our fingers to the bone to enter public trust with it. But jail we had it. People respected us back then. Respected you? No one would call a coroner into question in dim days. A coroner report was the hallmark of the investigation done right. Especially when the Courtney Stevens put her name to it. She was the best of the best. Hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Courtney Stevens? Who is Courtney Stevens? Oh, sorry, got a bit carried away there. Stevens, his daughter's side maiden name. Her maiden name? So that was before she was married. Of course, yeah, silly me. It's Sinai, isn't it? Saiti? Stevens. Sure, I've seen that name somewhere recently. Just gonna check. Steven. Nope. No Steven here. Steven. Somewhere recently. Anyway, the point is, those were the great days of policing, not like now. Sorry to interrupt, sir. But, would you think you could change your statement to include that name? Well, yes, I don't see why not. Steven. Steven?
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Oh, gracious! The will statement you refer, counsel. So, juror number 2. Oh gosh, me? What can I do for you? Presume that you heard that juror number 6 says in his statement, he's brought light that I made the name of the coroner of society, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before. Well, naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connection a relationship irresistible. Oh golly, I'm afraid I failed to see what you mean. Total side maiden's name is Stevens. And through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it. Do we? I got evidence to say? How utterly enthralling. Counsel, the court can overlook that last remark. Very much shows there's substance to your claim. Of course, my lord. We'll ask the court to look at this. Evidence that clearly links Dr. Sai to the mass murderer known as the Professor... there you go. It was, there you go. Killer, autopsy report, redacted, for Florian, Professor, never hanging, confirmed by John Courtney Stevens. There it is.
Take that!
I have here a certain autopsy report from 10 years ago. 10 years old autopsy? What relevance does that have? It is of course from the autopsy of the person portraying the waxwork, the killer known as the Professor. The Professor? But the man was a capital offender, so... That's right, it is a certification of that was drawn up after the convicted execution. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives few details. So, there's two things. So, the killer was someone very important. But what's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens. Oh my, Courtney Stevens? Strike a light! It appears that the professor's autopsy was concluded by Total Society 10 years ago. And a few days ago, Mr. Draper very deliberately stole the waxwork of the professor from Madame Tuspel's. A waxwork that doesn't in fact resemble the victim, Mr. Osmond, at all. And do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between those two events? Absolutely, I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the professor case is at the heart of a link that we have yet to uncover. Ah, between Dr. Curtis Seed and Mr. Enoch Draper. Hidden links, mysterious connections, secret relationship. That is all most extraordinary. Gossip! Yeah. We're surely obliged now to explore these further. Lovely. Thank you. Quite right. We can't let this trailer come to an end there. Not while there is a cloud of suspicions hanging over the yard's best coroner. I wasn't like this in my day, but they're still here to uphold justice in the end. Oh yeah.
Hold it!
Well, you claim to all instantaneous case the museum was a trick. Yeah. That I did, but there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there? Sorry. I grant you, given that this cage appeared from amidst an explosion, there would have been no need to use a real person. But if a waxwork had been used, the culprit could have at least have had the decency to make it look like the victim. Agree with that? I'm not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency. The point is, if you're going to make a claim about that waxwork being inside the birdcage, you need to give us some evidence. Without that, it's just no science. I suppose we should expect nothing less than the logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society, but that perhaps means his mind could be charged if we manage to present suitable evidence. Evidence that Professor Waxwork have evidence. Understand? Naturally, he has something I'd like to see, sire. I must warn you that I don't believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats. Forgive me your jet black outfit. I don't mind admitting to a sensible trepidation here. So you don't trust anyone in black. Looking in the mirror must be very trying.
Take that!
What's that? A piece of glass? Ah, Dolph is unusually thick for a glass. Yes, it's a piece of broken glass that we found inside the jacket of the waxwork. As you say, it's no ordinary glass, though it's very thick and clearly made of extra strength. much like the special gas that was made developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower. The Crystal Tower? Holy smoke! Exactly. The centerpiece of the great exhibition, when a very incident we're talking about took place. On the day in question, the birdcage fell from above and smashed through the window of that special glass. From which this small piece of originality, is that it? Precisely. So, what you say? Now that clear evidence in support of the assertion has been placed before you. As I say, they only trust men in white coats as a rule, however. But the reasoning sound is far to say color shouldn't come into it. I don't know, it sounds such a racist remark, I don't know why. In light of what you showed me here, yes, I felt obliged to change my position on the matter, but that is color of the color of the clothing. In that case, jurors number 4, you will amend your statement now, please.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Oh, gracious. What statement do you refer, counsel? If you could put down your call for a moment, jurors number 5. Oh, you mean me? You may point out that it is wrong to make an accusation without evidence, but the accusation that the Waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question is not without supporting evidence, as the defense demonstrated that the jurors sitting beside you. Oh, is that right? She wasn't even listening, I feel like. Or would it be fair to say he didn't follow the argument? I don't understand much beside Colonel Cobb, to be honest. Of course you don't. If I could interject here, please do, sir. Now that this assertion of yours about the Waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence, it will be wrong for me as a man of science not to pursue the matter further. Ah, well, me too then. That was easy, sorry. If this brain gentleman say he's right, then he must be. See? I am... What a dream of going against Colonel Cobb, or anyone who was going stuffing between the ears. Yeah. Success! At last. You can call it that. Thank you, counsel. That will do. So, the result of the summation examination, the jury's overall leaning has changed. And 2 jurors now called guilty against 4 who called not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach a consensus of this time. And the trial must continue. We did it. We did it! Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Another wonderful victory. I'm so bad. Waxworth, the despicable professor, is a body double for the victim in this quite extraordinary case. I must say it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true. However, it will appear that it does at least warrant further investigation. It's the Waxworth the professor that links Mr. Draper and Dr. Saito. And I'm convinced that there are special significance to that link. I don't know what you are hoping to prove, lad, I really don't. The truth is, using evidence and testimony. The court is to delve deeper into the alleged involvement of the Waxworth in this case. Hence the prosecution called the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness. The owner? Madame Tuspels. I really thought that Lovan Six will object to this whole line of inquiry. I think he was curious to know who's the murderer. Very well, I concur. May I arrange for the Madame as well to appear as a witness with immediate fact? The murder of his brother. The murder. Listen carefully, my little friend. Yes? You should know that you are to the brink of opening a Pandora box. I feel like we are going to open it and rip it apart. The court shall not adjourn for 45 minutes. During that time, the prosecution will summon the new witness to prepare her for taking the stand. That is the spells? Yes. I shall see it. I shall see to it at once, my lord. Wow, this is gonna be messy as hell. Gonna feel in my jelly. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you know the dealio. We're gonna now end the episode right now, right here. Hope you love it. Hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a beautiful day. We love you. Bye.